It is All-Stars season yet again, and I am gobsmacked. There are a lot of queens this season. We just got the official announcement of who is going to be on RuPaul's Drag Race season 10 of All-Stars. This cast size is nuts, yo. We have not had a cast this big in an All-Stars season ever. I am big excited, but also this was an odd assortment of queens. There are a lot of queens here who I thought would maybe never come back to the show. There are queens that are here who I think, now why is she back again? So today I'm going to be reacting to the looks and I'm going to be determining who I think has the most trajectory and who has the most opportunity to be favored by the production team as well as Ru, and who I think might end up being pushed through to the next round. This season, it seems like it's battle bracket style. All of the branding so far has shown the typical battle brackets leaning in towards one ultimate head-to-head. That idea and concept is very exciting to me. However, I really wish that Drag Race would just nail down a format that they like. We've had teams, they eliminate each other, they save people from the bottom, non-elimination, and now we're having a battle bracket style. I think there's pluses and minuses to each All-Stars iteration, but something does sit funny with me that they haven't nailed down a format that they like, that works, that has fans feeling like this felt good to watch as a fan, and also producers get the outcome that they want at the end. And I'm hoping that this style works for them. I'm hoping that whatever the twist is, whatever the plot is of this entire storyline, I hope that it's good. I hope that it feels satisfactory to us. And I hope that it feels rewarding to have sat through what could be a very long season. Before we get into this, I want to say, if you are one of the people that watches the little spoiler YouTube videos, sits on the subreddit, good for you. I love that for your journey, and I love that for you. Do not spill that into my comments because you're gonna get muted as soon as, oh, this person goes to this point and this person's getting eliminated here. I won't even deal with it. I will mute you fast. If you want to speculate on how you think that it's gonna go, hey, I'm so here for that. So let's discuss each group team by team, and then I will kind of get into my thoughts about where I think people are going to kind of fall in line with production and Ru, and who I think has more likelihood to scoot forward. So looking at this, I'm not very good at math. I'm really gay. I'm not expected to be good at math. I'm expected to be good at eating butt. I'm guessing that from each one of these groups, which are each groups of 6, we're probably not going to get more than 3 contestants each moving forward. 3 queens from each group go ahead. That means that there's 9 altogether going into round 2. So I'm going to pick 3 queens from each one of the groups that I think is going to be favored. That was a lot of math and I didn't need to do that. I'm going to start with Team Orange because this is how they're saved in my phone. We have Olivia Lux this season, our first queen from season 13. I believe there are 3 of them. I just noticed that looking at her corset, it spells her name, which is so cute. That's great branding. I'm also really fascinated by the choice of props from each one of the queens. Olivia's got a makeup brush, and that was something she was always very highly complimented on, was that her mug was mugging. Olivia was someone in season 13 who had a lot of storyline going in. She had some competition with Rosé, and there was a lot of conversation about who was the better of the two because Olivia was newer, Rosé had mentored her, XYZ. Olivia was someone who got very heavily favored by the judges panel until they decided they didn't care about her anymore. And so Olivia's got a lot of opportunity to come back and prove why the judges liked her maybe so much that first time. She's kind of one of those that I've got a question mark next to initially. The judges seem to gravitate towards her smile and her charisma the first time around, but again, they got bored of her really fast, so where will they land now that she's back? Next up, we've got Bosco. I love this shot of her in the mirror, because it's very Drag Race Vegas coded. It is very the Mirror song that they do, and considering she's a staple there, I feel like that song is very much emblematic of who Bosco is. Bosco is someone who her first time around was so good at Drag Race. That is undeniable. We just finished watching this season for my Drag Race podcast. If you want to check that out at That Sounds Gay, wherever you get your podcast at. There's a slightly visual podcast here if you want to listen to that as well. And Bosco is really good at everything. She's good at acting, she's good at improv, she's good at Snatch Game. Despite what they tried to gaslight us about, Bosco is good at singing and dancing and everything. Like, Bosco is it. Bosco's biggest enemy, her season of 14, was her wardrobe and her lack of budget, where now Bosco's got more money. She's booked and blessed at the Drag Race show in Vegas, I think this girlie is the one. For me, I feel like Bosco is someone who is very likely to get a heavier push, not necessarily because of favoritism or anything, but because Bosco is just that girl. And if you don't think that, you need to go back and watch 14 and see how just of a pussy slay she was the whole season and how charismatic she is on the Vegas show. Plus, she's just funny. And her embracing herself and being her true authentic beauty now, I think is gonna really help her a lot with not being so insecure in some of the challenges, where in 14 that was another one of her struggle points, is that she'd kind of get in her head. I think Bosco is extremely likely to make it to the second half. Next we got Aja, another beautiful trans woman who was originally on season 9 and then All Stars 3. Aja got such a bum run in 3. She did so good, and she should have never gone home during that Andy Warhol ball. And I remember her busting out the receipts of her showing exactly the Studio 54 reference she was going for and who it was worn by and that it was era appropriate. I'm surprised to see Aja back. She's one of those girls that I really didn't think was ever going to go back to Drag Race, purely because she knows how it works. She knows what they're interested in doing, and they might not necessarily be interested in her best interests. But I think that she knows the game well enough now. She knows how to play it. She knows how to make audiences love her. She knows how to sell a performance. Aja is someone who I think really grew from her time on season 9 to 3. And I think all these years later, she's gonna really kill it again. Yeah, I don't know. I think she's just got this charisma that's gonna carry her. So I think she's fairly likely to move on to round 2. Does well, but maybe is not the breakout star. Deja is next in Orange group. This orange is not doing any favors for her. It's sort of all like washing her out, unfortunately. Not a huge fan of this Eureka coated collar. It looks like that thing that Eureka wore during that outer space ball that they did in 10. Deja is someone who at the beginning of her season was told, you are the lip sync assassin after lip sync 1. Which is kind of lofty. And then they didn't really play with her too much until the end, when they made her and Georges lip sync together and eliminated the 2 lip sync assassins of the season in favor of Daya. Deja doesn't, I think, have a ton of story on Drag Race. I think she was someone who was just kind of there through a lot of her season. Others had more story than her. However, she's had really good social media presence off the show. Knowing who the other 2 are in this group, I just don't know if Deja would be able to move forward of this group. I don't know if she's got a ton of story going in, but who knows? Maybe she'll have more to offer to the show than what I'm giving her credit for right now. Next, we have Phoenix from season 3. What a deep cut. Prison, honey. Phoenix is someone who I think is representing very much that old school drag that is important to see now that Drag Race kind of loses out on. It's been a long time since she's competed, and back then the rules were different. You could wear wet seal and you were fine. Now your package has to be huge. Hopefully I hope they got a stipend to be here, because if they didn't, I think it's a little unfair to bring someone who went out early and then bring them back in to get steamrolled by people like Ginger Minj and Georges, who are probably going to get favored very heavily. I'm excited that Phoenix is here. I think she's kind of got an India Farah type trajectory going into this. Like, we don't know what she's gonna do. It's been so long since she's been on TV. How will she adapt to the environment of Drag Race, right? Phoenix is so OG. I'm like excited for her. Again, it just does feel a little bit unfair to me bringing someone who went out in the really early portion of the season and then having juggernauts that are here next to her. I think especially with this group, Bosco being a finalist, it feels a little bit like bringing Naysha in and then bringing Jimbo in, you know? But we shall see. Phoenix honestly could be like a wild card. I think she could really go in any direction, so I'm gonna kind of put her at another question mark like Olivia. This group seems to be the one I'm most unclear about with who's gonna get production favoring, because there's not a lot of girlies in this lineup besides Bosco who I think are really on the radar. Next up, we've got Irene, and the last one of the orange group. Irene is our season 15 representative. Kind of fascinating to get Irene here, a first out. And then in another group, we've got Mistress, who went to the end. Glad that they didn't get paired up together, but also I think that would have been funny, maybe to put them together in the same round 1 group. She looks freaking incredible. If I was ranking this based off of looks, Irene is number one for me of this group. Probably of the entire lineup. She looks so damn good. I love the structure of this gown. The way that there's this twist on the mermaid skirt that almost looks, if you've ever seen those extendable plastic bowls that when you pop them out, they get bigger and bigger with each tier, and you can sort of decide how big you want them to be as the mermaid skirt. I love these little like arm cuffs that are circular, and then the black polka dots everywhere is just very cool. And I really appreciate the embracing of who Irene is in just the jump of this. Irene is someone who had a lot of eyes on them during their time on 15, and they went out so early, it didn't get to show anything in their package, but everyone kept saying we were robbed of all these runways that we could have seen. And it's true, Irene has a great runway package and presented something incredible for 15. It's disappointing that we didn't get to see more from them. I think Irene is someone who comes off to me like they're just gonna wow visually, and it's gonna be really hard not to push them forward. I feel good about where Irene could be story-wise, going from the first out queen to someone who could make it to round 2 and progress really far in the competition. Drag Race loves a redemption story like that. They love when someone goes home early and then really knocks it out of the park. So I think Irene's got good potential to go far and be on production radar. So next we move into the pink group. We start out with Georges. Why is Georges here? Georges was just on a non-elimination season like 5 minutes ago. Got to give us what, like 12 episodes of just being a cool little 5'2" stoner. Yeah, man, I don't really get why she's here. This outfit is though. Can we talk about how cute this beaded look is? And then the way that this headpiece is landing, it almost looks like girl with the pearl earring. I mean, let's be honest, Ru loves this little twink, and I really think that Georges is gonna make it to round 2. I think that she's not gonna give one singular like, Georges is just gonna do Georges. It's that meme of Jasmine Masters. I just wanna love on my friends, smoke some weed, and eat some food. That's like Georges all the time. And I feel like she's just not gonna be bothered. She's gonna do her thing. And I feel like she'll end up in round 2 easy. I think, like, everybody of this group, Georges is number 1 to move on. I feel like Ru is really gonna with the pink team. I feel like she is going to absolutely love this group because Lydia is here, who probably didn't even get to leave her hotel. We all know how Drag Race is filmed, and we know that it was not filmed like 3 days ago. So the queens of this lineup don't know who Lydia is because they were probably wrapping production on season 17, and then a couple days later started production on All Stars 10. So going into this, what, Lydia had like 2 weeks maybe to prep a new runway package? Was she like leaving the parking lot? And then Ru was like, Lydia, come back. Don't get in your car, come back, come here. Hey, do you want to come back for All Stars 10? You know you want to come back. I saw you rip up that black and white dress. I know you can use some money to fix that. So like, this is crazy. I don't think we've had a turnaround this quick ever before. And I mean, the problem I think for Lydia is that I don't know if we're gonna see that much of a glow up because I don't know, Lydia has a very specific aesthetic and she hadn't really had time to see it on TV yet. She hadn't had time to hear any criticisms of her look. I don't know if she cares about that criticism at all. But a lot of the girls get a chance to get off the TV and then someone says, oh, her makeup was busted, it didn't look right on TV, oh, her silhouettes were wrong, or we didn't respond to this wig, or XYZ. And then they get to refine it and then like 3 months later come back and do All Stars, right? We got to see Aja do that from 9 to 3. There was enough of a turnaround time that people got to perceive Aja on TV, see her eliminated, and then she got to come back and do All Stars 3. So I'm wondering if Lydia would even have a chance to grow at all. The thing is, Lydia is funny. Lydia is good at Drag Race. And I think if they were given stipend, she probably was able to hire someone to maybe make some better costuming for her, things that fit her body better. And so she's got a really good chance to go to the second round. I think of this group, she's got the second highest likelihood to go to the next one. And the funniest cast member that is next is Mistress Isabelle Brooks from season 15. And this is so funny to me because Mistress would be the only one who knew anything about Lydia. Probably got to the room, saw Lydia come in and go, you just called me a big oscillating fan like 4 or 5 days ago. So it's kind of hilarious to see her here. I will say I don't really understand the shredding on the bodysuit. I'm not mad at it, but I don't really understand it. Her being next to the wig heads is fantastic because Mistress is someone who I feel like we all know wears like 6 wigs on top of her head. She looks gorgeous. Her makeup looks incredible. She looks snatched. Her body is bodying. This is body tea. Mistress is hilarious and is so good at Drag Race as well. She's absolutely going to next round. There's no ifs, ands, or buts in my mind. She's someone who has buckets of storyline from her original time. She was fighting with people. She was being tee-hee, going through all her eras. She is what television gold is made out of. Mistress, to me, is what New York is for like straight reality TV. Next we have Carrie, one of the queens that I was a little confused why she was here because I just didn't think that Carrie would ever come back to do Drag Race. I love this butterfly look. I think she looks beautiful. I don't know, Carrie, I feel like in this group feels like a bit of a standout in maybe a sore thumb type of a way. Carrie is someone who the judges really didn't do anything with. And I cannot help but feel like that was because Cornbread went home. If Cornbread stayed, I feel like there was more opportunity to use Carrie as a device to make other storyline happen, but because Cornbread was gone, other people's storylines that were lined up with Cornbread kind of went off to the side. You see Carrie skate through in these challenges like Glamazon Prime, where she probably shouldn't have. There were other people that were way stronger than her, but she was safe. And then she's randomly in the bottom during this girl group challenge where she didn't actually do bad. They just didn't utilize her for anything until it was time for her to lip sync and go home. They could have used her in a lot of different ways. And normally with girls that don't have a lot of storyline on Drag Race, they'll stick them in the bottom quite a bit and just let them be an assassin. Look at someone like Lana Jure, who didn't really give anything to the TV, and the producers didn't use her in any other way than eliminating queens that they didn't want there. Maybe if Cornbread was here, Cornbread would have sent Carrie home during Glamazon Prime because they both were not very good at seam stressing and they had a really strong connection with each other and had their emotional moment talking about family. So Carrie's someone to me who the producers don't really seem like they even are paying attention to her. At least that's how it was on 14. That could have changed after all these years. I mean, anything's possible. I think that she's one of those girlies that will probably have learned quite a bit from her time off the show. And I don't know, she could maybe be like a surprise contestant that maybe might break through to round 2, maybe over George's. Next, we've got Nicole Paige Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia. And if you spell that out, that spells a saucy word you can't say on YouTube. Nicole is an interesting pull as well. Someone who I did not think would have come back to Drag Race this late in the game. I would have much preferred Nicole to be maybe in All Stars 8 and then maybe swung in, like, who knows, Candy would have been really good in this group, I feel. Being with other girls who were also early outs who maybe didn't get as many opportunities, and the show had changed so much since then. Being around girls that had went at around the same time as her, I think would have maybe been better. Nicole, I think, is someone who had such little time on the show that she didn't really even get to be on producers' radar. And so coming back, there's not a lot to play with her. To me, it's a lot like a Naysha Lopez, someone who just wasn't around that much, didn't really do anything with their time on the show, wasn't utilized in any way by the show, and so then coming back, it's like, well, what are they gonna do with Naysha? Send her home first? Send her home early? And so I don't know, Nicole's kind of is one of those that I don't really think the show is going to be paying much attention to, especially in this group. I'm looking at my list. If Nicole was maybe swapped with Aja, maybe, and Aja was in the pink group, and maybe Nicole was in group orange, I think maybe she would have a higher likeliness of being noticed. But she's with Georges and Lydia and Mistress, who the camera loves and Ru loves. I just don't see Nicole getting a lot of the attention she deserves this season, not with this group of girls. And then last in Team Pink is Tina Burner, Turn It and Burn It, next to this fan which is blowing off a bunch of these chicken feathers, which wasn't even her storyline. Tina, I am sure, was steamed that she did not get the orange group. I am sure that she was like, I gotta be in the pink team, but my color is the other one. Can I just be in the orange group? Can you just make a little change for me, please? Come on, Ru. I love the silhouette of this costume. She looks really freaking good, and I love that hat. Tina's someone who I think is pretty good at Drag Race, but has this thing that she does which comes off a little canned and inauthentic sometimes, and I just don't think the cameras love her that much. Tina, much like Carrie, was not really used in the show very much. Tina was someone who was just there for a lot of episodes, never got utilized as someone to put in the bottom frequently, never got utilized as someone to put in the top and give a lot of storyline to frequently. Even episodes where she was in the top, her critiques were sort of glazed on by as they focused on queens that they were featuring, like Olivia and Simone and Rosé. Tina was always sort of the back burner, the back Tina burner. And then when they finally paired her with Rosé, the two of them didn't do anything with each other. They didn't create any sparks like I think the producers were hoping they would have. And I think they were just like, okay, whatever. And so I really just think going into this, Tina's just gonna have a good time. I don't think she's gonna necessarily do spectacular. I don't think she's gonna be rewarded really heavily. I think that Tina is going to probably not make it past round 1. Next we have the purple group, probably the one I'm the most excited about. We start out with Denali, a queen that all of us have been begging and crying and pleading to come back. Denali is someone who had said quite a while ago that she probably wouldn't do Drag Race again because it's not a lucrative opportunity. You go in, you spend all this money to maybe go home early, and fans have this perception that if you're an early out bitch, you're not good at drag because the show tries to gaslight us that that's the case. So the opportunities aren't really there. She looks wonderful. I love these shoes. I love this windswept hair, and I love the kind of liquidness of this costume that she's wearing. I think Denali is someone who's got a lot of storyline, especially knowing that Olivia is in the previous group. I feel like that's a producer wet dream because she and Olivia lip sync, and it was kind of controversial that they lip sync because I mean Tina and Rosé probably should have been in the bottom. And a lot of people have been really rooting for Denali to come back, and Drag Race every year has someone that the fans are always wanting, right? Look at someone like Jessica Wilde or Jimbo, Alaska and Katya. These queens that we got really excited about in their time of coming back to All Stars, that the producers see that and then capitalize on their clout or their desire to be perceived again, and they push them through. So I think Denali's got a really strong chance of getting a favorable edit here and a favorable push to reach round 2. Ginger being here from season 7 and All Stars 2, as well as All Stars 6, as well as Drag Race Vegas Live as the MC, is such a blatant, we want you to go to the end and see if you can win one last time. I will be honest, I wasn't mad when Alexis Mateo got brought back for Versus the World in Canada too, because I think Alexis Mateo is one of the best entertainers that the show has ever produced. I think Alexis is really it, and she's been so shafted every single time she's been on the program. And then when Eureka was there, I thought, Eureka really doesn't need to be here. She's made top 4 every other time she's been on a season. So why is she here again? With the exception of the first one, but even then, I think she would have gone to the end. Ginger's another one of those girls who just did great every single time, except in All Stars 2. And so her being a host at the Drag Race Vegas show, sort of like big conflict of interest. Her having the mic in her promo shot is fun. It is very on brand for her to be the MC. She'll probably be the narrator of the season. Ginger is absolutely going to round 2 and probably going to the final episode. Ginger, a lot like Mistress, is just good TV. Ginger is great energy. She's funny. She's good at improv. She's got her own aesthetic and interpretation of what her drag looks like, and she accomplishes what she wants to present. And on top of it, Ginger is a lip sync assassin. So whatever decision they do for bottoms and tops this season, Ginger will win lip syncs. Guaranteed. Ginger has some iconic lip syncs. From I Think We're Alone Now to Sugar Walls, Phone. Come on, Ginger is the lip sync girly, and people don't think of her as an assassin, but she is. Next up in the purple team, we've got Santi Ali Fontaine with a little chancla, which is psychotic. Cynthia is someone who, going into this, has a lot of redemptive opportunity. A good sign of someone coming back for All Stars is either they're great TV or they've got good redemption storyline. And Cynthia is someone who on season 8 kind of dropped the ball pretty hard, had her diagnosis with her illness, came back for 9, didn't really prove that she had grown too much off this show, was the lovely congenial queen yet again in that season. She is very silly online. She's always supporting the girls. That meme of, "Can you tell me the tea, please?" is all over the place, and I love that. I think she looks like a lot here. This gown is not doing any favors for her. She is just a lump of fabric. And then the hair is also so strange. Kind of looks like if you leave like a plastic G.I. Joe like in the sun, or like a Barbie in the sun, you come back the next day and it's like concave and melted and such. I like that Cynthia got to be in her previous promo color, but they didn't let Tina Burner be in her iconic orange. Yeah, I think Cynthia has a big redemption opportunity here, but she's kind of a question mark for me. It's really going to depend on what she does with her time in however many episodes they've got in these groups. Next up, we have Diabetica from season 14. I don't even recognize her. She looks like a Dragula girly. Easily, that could be Priscilla. The contacts, the hairstyle, the way that there's this lace, and the way that it's intermeshed all the way through the pants. She looks really freaking cool. I love this promo shot of her cutting up the fabric like she's gone into someone's closet and is just ripping up everything. Daya is someone who's got a lot of storyline from season 14. They harped in that she looked too much like Crystal, which I thoroughly disagree with, and I don't think that critique was valid at all, because she didn't look anything like Crystal. She didn't act like Crystal. So I think they were grasping at straws to give her a storyline. She, I think, has a lot of opportunity to come back and slay and really show what made her special that first time around and why she made it to the finale in the first place. She's also an incredible lip syncer, so I think that whatever the format is, she's gonna do well in that. I think she's got opportunities to get pushed far, just based off of her redemption opportunity from looking like Crystal and then also being a finalist and not winning. She's got a lot of opportunity here, and I think that the production team will definitely favor her. I'm gonna put her at highly likely to move on. Next in the purple team, we've got Acid Betty from season 8. Yo, Acid was the last queen that I ever thought would come back to Drag Race. This outfit is really incredible. I love the skulls that are on this. I love that it's really graphic and almost like a video game monster. I could see this being in a 90s computer game. She looks cool. I am so excited that Acid's here. This is interesting that Acid is here. She is someone who kind of left the show criticizing it quite heavily, and has sort of distanced herself from the show to kind of get back into that club kid origin that she already had before. I think going into this season, a lot of people have been waiting to see if Betty would ever come back. And I think especially her being here with Cynthia is quite nice, because they were so close with each other. Betty was the one who was checking in on Cynthia while she was in the hospital and making sure she was okay. And I just love Acai Berry a lot. I don't know how much the production team and the judges will love her. I think Acid is someone who could make it to the next round, but Ginger's here and Daya's here, and so I just don't know. I'm gonna put a question mark next to her name. And then the last queen, we've got Alyssa Hunter. This is a little confusing to me that Alyssa's here. I wouldn't have expected her to say yes either. I'm glad she did, because I think Alyssa Hunter is wonderful. I think she had a really interesting package her first season around. I think that she had a lot of opportunity and went home thinking what a lot of us think was kind of confusing, because there were people that I think were worse in the challenge that she was in the bottom for. Certainly worse on the runway. I mean, her runway probably should have saved her. And then her being in another group, it has a lot of opportunity to maybe get pushed forward, to have that second lip sync with Carrie. Although, I don't know, I don't know how much she would have grown television-wise from her first time around, or awareness-wise. I think about that moment where Bosco comes in and says, "Hi, I'm Bosco," and she says, "Hi, I'm from Puerto Rico." Like, she was just not listening at all. So I wonder if she is still kind of in her head and not really thinking about the moment. She could let it all pass by her, because I think that was her problem the first time around. Even her wanting to do that stereotypical character where everyone was making fun of her accent, it was a prime example of her not paying attention to the fact that the room wasn't comfortable doing that, and she just kept insisting that they were like, let's put a pin in that, and she kept wanting to go back to this character. And so I would hope that after all these years, she's grown and will be more present, to be more active in the scenes and in the production standpoint. I don't know if she's got a ton of redemptive opportunity, and I don't think she had a lot of camera time the first time around. So she is, I think, the least likely of this group to move on. And I think having that is important going into All Stars. That's how you have preservation. If you had storyline, if you had redemption, if Ru liked you. But I will say, the purple team is the one I am most excited to see, because these queens are most interesting to me. I can't wait to see what they're going to do. And overall in the season, I'm excited to see how it's all constructed. Will each group get a couple episodes to show us the format? and then they'll take a break with that group and give us the next one? Will they give us group 1, 2, and 3 all respectively, episode 1, 2, and 3? In any case, who are you rooting for? Who are you excited to see back this season? Who had your favorite look? We will be discussing each one of the episodes in length and ad nauseum when this season drops. Until then, thank you for watching. Check out some of my other videos. There are a lot of things that have been coming out this week revolving around UK versus the world, and there will be some España videos coming out very soon. And I will see y'all on the flip.